A man is not an island. You know, you can think you can do it on your own, but believe me, and you might be able to, but it's a heck of a lot easier if we formulate a humble spirit and realize that we can't do it on our own. And think about this. We've heard the saying, Doc, real men don't eat quiche, right? But real men eat quiche. Real men do the things that people don't think they can do.
Mm-hmm.
Real men are not toxic. Real men are not victims. Real men love their loved ones and they love their families. Real men are authentic. Real men are honest. Real men are integral, not just with other people, but with yourself. If you're lying to yourself, then you're lying to the whole world. And we would like to be real men, authentic men.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of the UNGA78 podcast. I'm your host, Jay Adewale, and today we have someone special for you. In this episode, I'm stepping down to make way for the incredible Dr. Osaretin Agbonavbare, who will take the reins as host for this conversation. Osaretin is a visionary in his field, and I can't wait for you all to hear his insight and his expertise. So sit back and enjoy Osaretin as he engages our guests and is also going to dive into topics that matter the most to us. So let's get started, and I'll be behind the curtain of production and be listening to this show. Thank you for listening.
Hello, welcome guys to another episode of the Winner Cycle podcast with Jay. So I'm going to be standing in for Jay. My name is Osaretin Agbonavbare. I'm a human computer interaction specialist, serial entrepreneur, founder, and the author of some books we have on Amazon. I have with me my guest, John Krotec, and it's so great having you today. And we're going to dive into some things which he's going to be sharing with us. But before that, I'm going to give a little bit of an background introduction to our guest today. A U.S. a veteran and a visionary entrepreneur. John is the founder of the NeoMasculinity Solutions, a global movement dedicated to helping individuals reclaim purpose, navigate their truth, and lead with clarity. With over 40 years of business experience, that is incredible. John's journey has taken him from a high attitude of, let me put it that way, and he has also hosted impactful conversation with prominent leaders, including General Flynn and DeSantis. I'm sure we all know the governor of Florida. But John's story is more than just business success alone. It's all about overcoming adversity, about surviving the traumatic brain injury, and also confronting deep-seated trauma. He has transformed his experience into a mission, which he's going to be sharing with us. He founded the Brainary and authored the Sentient Handbook, a practical guide for self-leadership that speaks to the heart of emotional resilience and critical thinking. In this episode, we're going to explore the summit mindset required to set and achieve extraordinary goals, drawing the parallel between climbing mountains and navigating the challenges of entrepreneurship. We'll discuss how trauma can actually impact our paths, the importance of creative healing, how reclaiming clarity and truth can empower us to lead effectively. So get ready for a raw, real, and empowering conversation as we unpack John's insights on leadership, resilience, the responsibility that comes with leading with purpose. So let's dive in. So once again, thank you very much, John, for joining us today.
You know, Doctor, let me tell you, that introduction, you made me feel like a king of the entire world. So that was thank you for that introduction, and thank you for the opportunity for the conversation so we can share with your audience.
All right. So once again, audience are excited to hear your thoughts. I'm going to start with the first question. I would really love you to share a little bit of your journey and what led you to start up this company. It's quite unique. So why is it unique? What is the brain behind it?
Thanks for that question, Doctor. A few years ago, we started hearing the word toxic, right? And every time they said the word toxic, it would come up with masculinity next to it. And so my friends and I were like, why all of a sudden, after centuries of masculinity, living in harmony with femininity, why all of a sudden are men who are masculine toxic, right? So we did a real deep dive. We gave it due diligence. And what we found out was, what we believe is that they are emasculating men. When I say they, it's not a conspiracy theorist, because you can read everywhere where they say toxic masculinity. If you emasculate a man, then it takes them from his mission, what his purpose in life is. And a man, his mission is to protect his family and his loved ones from threats. Now, here we are, doctor, in the 21st century. There's no mastodons, there's no saber-toothed tigers. So those threats are gone. The threats have changed. And now we're being bombarded with information 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And most of what we are listening to or watching is unreliable. So we identified 6 forms of information, right? One is reliable. 5 forms of information are not reliable. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to empower men, not about gender identity. That's a different thing. This is about gender roles, what men and women have done since the beginning of time. And so we wanted to empower men to embrace their masculinity, to have the tools to be able to help their families know the difference between truth and lies, fantasy and reality, fact from fiction. Because the future of our planet is our children. And we as men, we have to step up and use courage to protect our families from what's going on with information, to keep our family together. It's the future of humanity. And so a group of us, a fellow from Ireland, a lady from South Africa, another man from out west here in the US, and myself, we created the company NeoMasculinity Solutions. And doctor, if you look up the definition on Google, for instance, the definition of neo-masculinity, what it'll tell you is that a man cannot be masculine unless he believes changing social norms. So think about that. Now, you have your doctor. I know you studied hard. What it's saying is a man cannot be a man unless he believes a narrative that may or may not be true. So they continue to disempower men, to emasculate men, and we continue to see the problems all over the globe now, where families are being broken up and divided, and they're trying to now in the States with race. You know, they're trying to divide the people. You hear this, and we're much stronger together. But unless we have the tools, and unless we can figure out fact from fiction, we're never going to get ahead, and we're going to continue to be frustrated and angry and hateful at each other. We just can't live this way. Humanity's not sustainable like that. So we have the Sentinel Handbook that you mentioned. It's a PDF. It's something. It's like a foundational piece that we wrote it for. No disrespect, but we wrote it so a person can have an 8th grade level education and still be able to understand it. And it's in 9 languages. It's intuition, critical thinking, logic, reason. And then we're working on, there's also, if you go to our website on the front page, there's a freebie. You know, we give the modern man's manual, or a guide to critical thinking. Download that app. It's 10 different mantras that you can live your life by. And then we're working on 4 curriculums. We have the college curriculum finished, your level. That's something that you could study. Where high school is finished, it's all in development now, but it's finished. Then we have middle school, and we'll have grade school, and we call it, there'll be 4 silos of education. So we start out with our children at the very beginning in the 1st grade. Of course, we're not teaching in college, but these silos are full of brains. They use like a grain silo with grains. Our silos have brains in them. And so we're educating brains, not grains. And we hope to reignite at a global level in all languages, all continents, every country that's interested in the truth. We hope to have an educational process where we can start our children at a young age to go back to scientific method, to go back to their intuition. And thank you for letting me be so long-winded. It's the coffee. But let me ask you a question, Doc. Let me ask you a question. Have you had somebody ever told you something, or you hear something and the hairs on the back of your neck go up, or you get goosebumps, and you go, it doesn't sound right. I don't know if I believe that. Let me take a deep dive. So I say again, to get a doctorate, you have to study. What we find is most people, and it's no it's like intellectual laziness. They get their news off of Facebook, social media, ABC, I know, but CNN, Fox, yeah, yeah, TikTok. So it's much easier to look at something crazy on TikTok. You think that's the Bible. But if they went a little step further and they looked into it deeper, then they would find out that's just not true. I cannot believe that. And they've been doing this now they have this, propaganda and misinformation and disinformation and social media information. Now we have AI. The global populations, the ground is fertile to create major problems in societies and cultures all around the world. And
Yeah.
somebody might think, why? That's the question. Because then we're easier to manipulate and we're easier to control. And this is not rocket science. This is human nature way back at the beginning. Men need to step up.
Yeah, I agree with you, John, because there's been a situation where some things is being put to me, and I think about it. I have a deep reflection, like, really, like, is this what like the world is going? So it's very important for us to take into cognizance what we take into ourselves, because sometimes that could actually change our mindset. And regarding the point you talked about, the neo man and all of that, I think I've written a book concerning something related to what you are passionate about. And the book was more about the role of a man in a child's life, because for every nation where there's no father figure, I think a lot of things are going to go bad, because you need a man to take leadership, you need a man to serve as a role model to the child. And we've seen a lot of people, a lot of women becoming single mother because there's no like a man in the life of that child. And when a child grows up, it's called that there's something missing. Like for myself, I was 2 when my father died, so I didn't really have like a father figure, and I know the importance of it. I've seen some persons who grew up with like both parents, both the father and the mom, and now that has really, really shaped my life to become very much independent, trying to strive to become great at every point in time. So for someone having like a father figure, it could be a man, it may not necessarily be like a father. Like in my own case, I had older siblings who were acted as a father. I also had other people in my life who I also pick up as a mentor. They have really, really shaped my life. So I totally agree with what you're passionate about. The solution is very, very important for men to stand up, to be to take up that leadership role at every point, not necessarily in the family, even in religious bodies, in business and all of that. Because the moment no one is taking leadership, a lot of things is going to go wrong. A lot of things, guy. I saw my mom being a mom, be a father, be a mother, like taking off leadership and all of that, to the extent that there's so much I've learned from her. So imagine if I had a father, if I knew a father. So it means that a lot of things that I was struggling with, trying to seek mentorship from other people around, that wouldn't have been the case. But that doesn't stop me from not becoming, because I had other people who acted in that regard. So I'm just going to ask a follow-up question to what you shared so far. In your own experience, like, what mindset shift is necessary for setting ambitious goals? Because as a man is very unique for a man to set goals. They want to achieve those goals because that is when they can actually act. That is where they can actually see their ego growing. So in your own experience, what kind of mindset shift do one need to take for someone who want to become ambitious, have some ambitious goal? I want to be the richest man in the world and all of that. What do that person need to do?
Well, thank you for that question. First, congratulations to your mother. You're accomplished. Your mother did something right. And in a single family, which you bring up, is that a woman or man, depending on what the situation is, they have to take on those gender roles of the other sex. And your mom must have done a magnificent job because you have a doctorate. That right there is a lot of patience, a lot of resilience, and the stick to itiveness, the never quit, never give up, which is going to lead into my answer for your question. But those are the things that I think lay the foundation. Obviously, we have mentors, we have parents, we have friends. What I found in my life is every time I was struggling, and it may not have been my mom or my father, but there was always somebody there. They must have seen something. I don't know. One of the things that I say about being ambitious is you can do it on your own, and the road is rockier that way. Have your vision, know what it is you want to accomplish, but listen to other people who.
I want to take a moment to highlight a fantastic opportunity for you. So if you are eager to elevate your business and gain new insights, I want to say look no further than Point of View Consulting, New York. Point of View Consulting, they specialize in helping organizations unlock their full potential. They have expert coaching services and they have expert consulting services. Not only will they just work with you, they will work closely with you to identify challenges. They will help you set actionable goals and implement effective strategies for sustainable growth. So here's the exciting part of the story. Point of View Consulting is offering a free consultation for all listeners of the Winner Circle podcast. That's right, no string attached. Plus, for any of their services you choose thereafter, you can enjoy a 30% discount on their service fee when you use the promo code Winner Circle Podcast. So whatever the thing you want them to do, whether it's change management, operational development, whatever the thing is, the services you want them to do, they're going to give you 30% discount on the service fee if you use the promo code Winner Circle Podcast. Whether you're a startup laying your foundation or an established business seeking innovative strategies, Point of View Consulting has the expert strategy to guide you every step of the way. I want to say, don't miss out on the chance to gain a fresh perspective and transform your challenges into opportunities. I want you to visit www.pointofviewconsultinginc.com to book your free consultation today. Remember, your business success starts with a fresh perspective. Go ahead and use the code Winner Circle Podcast and let Point of View Consulting help you thrive. Now let's get back to the show.
Been there before you. And it's kind of funny because I hear it all the time. You're going to be rich overnight, right? And every time I meet someone that's very wealthy, they'll say this, Doc. They'll go, let me tell you about my 30-year overnight success story. My point is, and it's the toughest thing to do for entrepreneurs because we're always on the tip of the spear. We always want to be out in front. You have to be patient. And this might sound woo-woo, but the time schedule is not yours. It's going to come to you when you're ready. And it sounds kind of cool, but it's true. And so it took me a while to realize that there were other people out there. When I was young, 18, 19, I thought I was the next J. Paul Getty, right? I'm going to the top. Nobody's going to tell me what to do, and I'm just going to go for it. And I kept hitting a brick wall over and over and over again. And then I realized you must be patient and build your skill sets, one of them being etiquette. One of the best books I ever had in college was a female marketing instructor in the business school. And Amy Vanderbilt's book of etiquette was a required textbook. And I was like 18 years old, what do I need to learn etiquette? why? Just give me a book on something else. But that book opened up more doors for me in business and in my personal life. So, use etiquette, learn a little bit about etiquette. Etiquette can take you pretty far. So be kind. It sounds so cliche, but it can open up doors for you. Respect other people, right? So I'm thinking etiquette. I'm thinking patience. I'm thinking listening to other people that have been there and done that. And then probably is the spirit. And you've heard this. We've all heard this. Never quit, never give up. I can't say it enough. Never give up. But if you're doing something over and over and over and over again, and it's not working, be resilient. We said this in the Army. All right, we have a mission. We've been planning on it. We're going to go out and do it. Everybody knows their job. But we come into a challenge in a situation that mission's not going to work. Be willing to be humble and adapt and overcome.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
So there's things.
All right. I need to also appreciate you for your service, and I just have some questions to ask, because I did look through your story. It's quite interesting. I'm sure our audience also want to know the journey so far. How are you able to overcome the traumatic brain injury? Like, how has that shape your perspective, your life, your goals, resilience, being through the US Army and everything? Our audience really want to know, because some persons are actually struggling with some traumatic difficulties. So how has that changed your perspective about life?
A great question. I'm gonna go way back to the third grade, Doc, when I was on an overnight at a friend's house, and something happened to me as a young boy that young boys should not have to experience. I'm not going to go into detail, but it was very. I went from being inquisitive, curious young boy to being very untrustful. My eyes went from light brown, almost black, right? Like a black, great white shark. I just didn't trust people, but I kept it. I never said anything. I kept it hidden for 40 something years. And I was always an overachiever, but I would make it to a certain position, and then I would somehow self-sabotage. That thing was eating away at me. So in 2012, I'm out and had a couple of drinks with my friend in the downtown. I was living it. And on the way home, I was involved in an accident, a vehicle accident. I had the traumatic brain injury. And what the traumatic brain injury did was it released all those demons. And I finally had to deal with that situation that I hadn't dealt with for over 4 decades. I had to get professional help. And I had a female counselor. It was months and months and months of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. And I had to go into myself, and I had to fix some cognitive errors that I had developed over my lifetime. And it was the traumatic brain injury that people say, well, that's not really a gift, but that was the gift. And so I learned that we all as human beings react to traumas and certain situations in different ways. And when we're younger, we form a position or a behavior that sabotages anything that we might have good in our lives. So I guess to be real simple, humility. The brain injury forced me to be totally and authentically humble. And I found out that there are people out there, men and women, doctors like yourself, different type medical doctors, but there are people out there on this planet who will help you when you're at your lowest point. They're out there. And that's when we say never quit, never give up. It's the same thing that I learned going through this that I carried with me all through my career. There's people out there like Doctor here, me, and more professionals that will help you.
Okay, there's another question I'm also going to ask you, just like a follow-up to our previous conversation. A lot of our audience are actually struggling with the aftermath of divorce. Some of them, they've been with their lover for years. Eventually, divorce came in and they lost almost half of their entire wealth, and they have to start all over again. During the process, they lost their identity. A man who have always been a man, a provider and everything, because of the aftermath of divorce, even trying to love people becomes so difficult. As someone who is so passionate about how men could redefine themselves and all of that, what would you say to our audience who are at the point of struggling with the aftermath of divorce? They've lost almost half of their wealth. They've worked more than 30 years, 40 years trying to build this wealth, and they need to start all over. So what strategy or what would you recommend for such people?
Great question. I appreciate that. The first thing is, and I don't mean to be disrespectful or uncompassionate, you're not the first person that's been divorced. That's the first thing. You're going to get through this. Trust me, you will. I've known lots of divorced people. I was almost there myself, and it took years to build it back. We were almost there. But if you walk into your local bookstore, you go online, you'll find tons of self-help books. And these are people like myself and others that have been through hard times in their life, and they've written these books to impart some wisdom to you. Now, pick one up, look through it. All the books, none of them are wrong because they worked for that person, and all they're doing is sharing it. So let's just say you buy a book, and you go and you start doing all the stuff in the book, and you make a mistake, and you find that it's not working for you. Well, that's okay. Everybody's different. Take the positive things from that book and apply them to your life. And before you know it, you'll be writing your own book because you're going to get through it. When you're down, the cavalry's not coming. A lot of this is going to have to be done on your own. And I remember like 3 months into one therapy session with my therapist, right? She's sitting across from me on the couch, literally like we hear about. And she's smiling at me. And I'm thinking, she'd never smiled like that before. And I said to her, Cheryl, what's going on? Are you okay? Is it my birthday or what? She says, you make me happy. And I looked at her and she said, I've been doing this for 30 years, John. And when a patient does the hard work to make the changes in their life that they need to, otherwise they're going to continue down that road, then it makes me realize that what I do as a counselor is worth my efforts. And you instill hope in people like me. She's a counselor. She's been down that road. And so it's never easy when you've had something disruptive like that affect your emotions on such a really serious level. But if you believe in yourself and you believe in the process, maybe it's coming from a professional, but you believe here time heals all wounds. Sometimes it doesn't. My first sweetheart left me way back when. It still breaks my heart when I think about it, but it's behind me now. So yesterday's over. Tomorrow, we're not really certain of the future. But if we focus on today and we look at ourselves in the mirror when we say something like this, John, you're going to make it. You're not going to give up. Do what you have to do, but get on with it. That's what we need to do. That's, to me, called self-talk. Boost yourself up and just do it.
All right. So thank you very much for sharing that. Just to follow up on what you just said, there are a lot of men among our audience who are watching you now, and they are actually struggling with a lot of past. Some of them are struggling with how their parents treated them, which was really, really difficult. They didn't really have that love from a home. Some of them, they've grown now, they become in their 40s and their 50s, but they came from a broken home where the dad was never like around, the mom was not always on ground, like feeling, and those emotions have transited into their adult life, even growing into their old age and all of that. And they are really, really struggling. Some of them, because of those moments, those past, they find themselves drinking, smoking, doing a lot of things that ordinarily they would not love to do. And that has made them to lose their identity. They're struggling to come up with a new identity. So you as a person who have this incredible movement, what would you say to such people, our audience, who are actually struggling with those identities. They're trying to come out from those things that they don't really love because of their past experience, how they were being raised and all of that. They want to do something different so that they can take charge over their life, take charge over their family, because they're seeing that their family is not the way they want. The love between them and their kids is not there, but they are just there. But they want to become different. So as someone who has been in this movement for years, what would you recommend to such people?
That's a great question, and there's millions of people like that out there. I'm very fortunate. My parents stayed together. There was a lot of rocky years in there. My dad was very physical. I learned through the school of hard knocks, literally hard knocks. And my mom, this is a public interview, but my mom was always doing things behind my dad's back. And kids know what's going on. So we had a set of parents that were children themselves when they had us. I had 2 sisters and a brother. And when my mom was 25, she already had 4 kids. Years later, I realized now that they were kids themselves, so I forgave them. I couldn't be a victim the rest of my life. So if you're playing victim, realize that you're not alone in any trauma you've had. Somebody's always had it much worse than you have. Somebody's had it better than you. But the reality is, you've got to get out of the victim mentality, because that's not the way to.
Mm-hmm.
Find a way to step out of it. Look at yourself in the mirror. I said a minute ago, look at yourself in the mirror. That person. And write down on a sheet of paper. Write down what you know your strengths. Write down what you're good at. Write down what your core values are. Maybe you didn't have a great childhood, but you still have values. What are your top 5 values of life? How do you look at life? Everybody's got weaknesses. Be aware of them, but don't dwell on them. So take your list, look at your strengths, look at your core values, and live by them. And if you find yourself going away from that, this is an Army buddy. He said, find a way to get back to your strengths and get back to your core values. And that's how you can get started again. You have value. You just need to believe it. And guess what? You're not a victim. You're not a victim. You're only a victim if you choose to be a victim. And if you really want to turn your life around, then choose to be a winner. Winner's circle. Choose to be a winner. It's a choice, and it's not easy. If it was easy, we'd have a lot more winners, right? But it's not easy. It takes determination, and it takes courage. And Doc, I was reading something somewhere about human vibration states, frequency, right? And they got the scale. These people are more smart than me. And it's about anger and frustration and victimhood and hate. And then up here, higher up, you have love, and you have resiliency, you have confidence, you have higher consciousness. But in the middle, where you go from the lower vibrational states, and by the way, killing's the lowest. Killing another human being is ridiculous. We need not be killing each other. Right here in the middle is an emotion called courage. You want to step out of those lower you want to get out of victimhood and anger and frustration and being mad at the world. You better reach out, and I'm saying this for the men, you better reach down and grab it. It's a metaphor. Show some courage. Be a man and move yourself into loving. Toxicity is the last real man does. He doesn't have to get taught, because he'll walk a certain way. He'll act a certain way. People attract love. People attract people that are on the same path that he is. If he has to get toxic, there's a reason. Make the right choice.
All right. Yeah. Just a follow-up to what you just shared. There are a lot of men who, in the family, they've lost their place. Like, the wife doesn't respect them, Their kids doesn't respect them, and they just living every day. Even at work, they're continuously being abused by their boss or their supervisor. They're not good enough and all of that. And that is really, really affecting their mindset. That is making them to think of even committing suicide. Some of them are even depressed and all of that. So what strategy would you recommend for such a man who has lost their place, even in their immediate family, their extended family? Nobody trusts them because over the years they've not lived up to expectations. Their kids don't want to have anything to do with them. The wife doesn't respect them and all of that. They're just struggling. They're just all alone. So what will you say to such persons?
Great question. Another great question. It took you a while to get there. You know, it's a reputation. It's a series of behaviors. It's a series of events that got you to that place, man. And all those people thinking those things about you, right? Well, but the greatest tool we have.
Hey, winners, have you got a business or brand that deserves to shine? I'm just saying this right now because I'm giving the opportunity for you to advertise on Winner Circle with Jay and connect with thousands of ambitious entrepreneurs and leaders who are about growth. It's all about growth. So whether you are advertising a product or a service, secure your slot as low as $100. So what are you waiting for? Email us at advert@winnercirclewithj.com. Here at Winner Circle with J, we just don't talk success, we create success. All right, see you soon.
To interact with other human beings is communication. So I would say it starts with communication with yourself. Buy a journal, buy a book with blank pages in it. We've heard this before. I think a lot of people have said this. And start communicating with yourself. What are the 5 things that you would like to change in your life? Write them down in your journal. You don't have to share them with anybody, as long as you know them. And then embed those in your heart. Embed those in your mind. And talk to yourself every day. When you start to get angry, you start to feel something coming up, just change. It's not going to be easy at first. But I remember my therapist, and then we're going to get to the other people, but I remember my therapist told me, if you're having insomnia, you're upset about something, you can't sleep, you're angry. This was when my wife separated from me. She says, get up, go into the bathroom or wherever you have a large mirror, turn on the light, look at yourself in the mirror, and you go, I love you. I love you, John. Now, let me tell you, Doc, it sounds strange. I'm sharing this. I don't think I've ever talked about this with somebody. And so I went in there and I did that. The first time I did it, I'm looking around. There's nobody and I shut it off because I had never said to myself that I loved myself. After a month or so, 4, 5, 6 weeks, I'm going in there and I'm going, John, you're a cool dude, man. I love you. You're very good. You're good. You're on your way. It got easier and easier and easier. And once I started to get in touch with my personal feelings towards myself, then I had to forgive myself. John, you've done a lot of stupid things in your life. You've made mistakes. You've hurt people. I forgive you. Forgive yourself. When you forgive yourself for the things that you've done for other people, your world will start to change. Then write down the people who you've hurt. Your wife, your kids, your uncle, your aunt, your mom, your dad, and try to open up. Might be rough at first because they don't trust you. Try to open up a line of communication. Be honest. Hey, honey, I know we've had years of problems. Let it come from the heart. I know we've had years of problems. I really need to change, and you know that, and I'm going to need your help. I can't do this alone. Will you help me? Ask for help from the very people who you've hurt. You might be surprised who comes to your slide. So buy a journal, love yourself, forgive yourself, and open up the doors to the people who you hurt. Some of them may not want to talk to you, and that's okay. That's on them. That's what we call authenticity. And when you are in touch with your own feelings, it will change you inside. People will see it. You'll walk a little bit. You'll talk a little. You'll hold yourself when you're confident. And that's the best advice I can give you. But don't give up. Earlier, Doc. Don't give up. It's not easy, but it gets easier if we continue on that path of positive change. Imagine if all these men in the world who were being toxic took those simple steps, Doc. Man, what a world we would live in. It would be wonderful.
Okay. All right. I think you from what you were saying, I think you spoke a lot much about seeking help, like from a counselor or therapist. So I'm just going to ask a question to that light. A lot of men, typical men, want to bottle things themselves. They don't want to share. Only what you say, men who want to confide in someone, meeting a therapist. They don't believe in that and all of that. And it's very important for you to speak up when it's necessary. So I just want to ask you, like, what is the importance of seeking communities? Like communities that it could be fellow men who you could have conversation with, not necessarily therapists and all of that. Because I think, in my own opinion, it is very important. But a lot of men avoid it. They don't want to speak. They don't want to share. They feel they can figure it out themselves and all of that. So what would you advise those persons?
Well, great question. Another one. I love these questions. A man is not an island. You can think you can do it on your own, but believe me, and you might be able to, but it's a heck of a lot easier if we formulate a humble spirit and realize that we can't do it on our own. And think about this. We've heard the saying, Doc, real men don't eat quiche, right? But real men eat quiche. Real men do the things that people don't think they can do.
Mm-hmm.
Real men are not toxic. Real men are not victims. Real men love their loved ones and they love their families. Real men are authentic. Real men are honest. Real men are integral. Not just with other people, but with yourself. If you're lying to yourself, then you're lying to the whole world. And we would like to be real men, authentic men. Integrity is the key there too. But being humble, nothing starts unless you're humble. And I got to tell you, last time I checked, I'm a real man. And I know that humility is a big part of it. Also love. People say it so cheaply these days. Oh, I love you. I love you. I love you. And it's for a motive, right? Men do this a lot. They tell somebody they love them, especially when they're younger, and then they get what they want. We know what they're talking about, and then they move on. That's not a real man. That's a con man. And I'm not talking about the creepy kind of love. I'm talking about something that comes from the heart. If you can't love yourself from the heart, you're never going to love him. And love is what makes the world go round. Here we are, two men talking about love. Like I said, we're not talking about the creepy love. We're talking about the pure, authentic love for ourselves and for each other. Love conquers all. I didn't believe that when I was younger, but I saw it with my mom and my dad and all the problems they had, regardless of all the issues that went on between them. They loved each other. And I saw that. And that's what kept them in the game for 40 years. They're both gone now. I think it might have been 50 years, but love conquers all.
Okay. All right. So I think I'm quite impressed from what you've shared. So I just want to ask, you've been doing a lot of stuff for more than 40 years. What is one lesson that you wish you learned earlier in your career?
I said it earlier in our conversation, Doc. I said, listen, I wish I had listened to people. Here I am, this young man, gonna open my business and do it my way. And I can save for myself so many obstacles just by listening, because there are people out there that want to help you. Now, I don't know what it's like in other parts of the world, but here we have a Chamber of Commerce in the States. And then, and you can go to Chamber of Commerce and they usually have programs of old guys like me who have been there, who are willing to help young guys like a lot of the people who might be listening. And it's okay to listen, and it's okay. You can listen all you want. It doesn't mean you have to do it. It's a choice, but you're gaining knowledge. Information is power. And I didn't really understand that when I was young. We're being bombarded with all this information, but I'm not paying any attention. Attention to detail is critical at the beginning, really at the end too. But those things.
All right. So we already wrapping up for today's podcast. So I'm just gonna ask my last question. Our audience is really intrigued by your book. I really love you to share more about your book, how our audience can get in touch with you, what you've been doing, some exciting project you're looking forward to, how they can get involved with you, especially your book. Like, what is it all about? Like, how can it benefit our audience today?
Thank you for that question and allowing me the opportunity to talk about it. The book is 30 or 35 pages. It's very small. It's a handbook. It's called the Sentinel Handbook because we are sentinels of information. And what it does is it's a primer. We have it in 9 languages, all the main languages of the world. I don't think I have it in. There's some languages we got to get, but it's a baseline. It lays out the thread of information, the thread of unreliable information. It lays out the roles of men and women, traditional roles. We have a thing in there called the human intuition sniff test. Like when we hear something that might not sound right, there's like a list of priorities and how we can investigate what it is that we hear for its authenticity or veracity. But go to NeoMasculinity.Solutions and just go to the Sentinel Handbook. I think it's $9.95. It's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. And then just get it, and it's just a starter. Also get the freebie. Go on there and get the free. It's right on the homepage. The Modern Man's Guide to Critical Thinking. That won't cost you a dime. Get that. And then once we start to come on board with our master classes, there's some things you might want to check out. And also, Dot, we have a mini course coming up. It's called Brain Freeze, Breaking the Ice on Critical Thinking. We put all the information in. AI wrote it. And it's eminent. That will be on the website very soon.
Okay.
The point being, gather information. If you gather information, you're going to put yourself a step ahead of your competition, step ahead of the people who are getting their news off of TikTok. And I'm not blasting TikTok. They've got something else going on, but just do your homework and start with being a sentinel of information. Help yourself, help your family, help your loved ones, help your city, your village, your state, your country. Be a real man.
Yeah. All right. So that concludes today's episode on Winner Cycle podcast. A huge thank you to John for sharing this incredible journey with our audience, and not just with me alone, with our audience all over the world, insight into the summit mindset. I believe his experience has reminded us that resilience is very important. Patient, you need to seek help when it's important. Don't just feel you could do life all by yourself. Once people are there, a lot of resources are out there to help you out. So it's something that you need to seek for help when it's needed. If you found today's conversation very inspiring, please take a moment to subscribe, to rate and review this podcast. Your feedback will really help us to continue bringing this insightful discussion that will elevate the entrepreneurship our journey. Don't forget to connect with us on social media to share your thoughts and question about today's episode. If you have some questions about what John has spoke about, you can always reach out to him directly on his website. If you also want to get his book, you can also go to his website to get his book. Once again, thank you very much, John, for joining us today on Winners podcast, and I hope you have a great day.
Well, thank you very much, Doc. And I want to thank the audience like you, and listen to everything that the doctor told you, subscribe, build your network. And let me tell you, and let Jay know this. By you guys having this podcast and giving people like myself the opportunity to share our knowledge, you two guys are helping to make the world a better place. So I'm confident to know that there are other men in the world that are taking the time out of their days to help other people. So kudos to you, and tell your mom thank you too from me.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So audience, please do well to embrace your journey, set your sight high, don't look back, seek for help, and lead with courage. Thank you for today.
Hey, Jay, what you doing, man?